Hi, Andy Joels here for VideoCreditScore.com. Today we're going to talk about adverse actions and credit scores. And what's an adverse action? So an adverse action is, see all these fancy words right here? Well, it's basically a negative action that's taken against the consumer. It's the opposite of what a consumer was expecting. So if you apply to, let's say, get an apartment, then you're expecting that your application is going to be accepted, or you're hoping that it's going to be accepted. And what the FCRA does is it applies some rules that if you're not accepted, that you actually have some rights. So let's first talk about some examples when it comes to landlords. Of course, being denied credit, I knew that one was an adverse action. But some of these others are pretty interesting too. So if you're asked to provide a cosigner, that's an adverse action as well. If you're asked to give a deposit that's not normal, that's an adverse action. If you're asked to give a larger deposit or pay more rent, those are examples of adverse actions as well. So how does this adverse action work? Well, the landlord has to provide communication back to you. And I'm just using the landlord as an example. This is true for all adverse actions when it comes to credit, that the person who is going to supply the credit or the acceptance, that they then have to communicate to you that you are under an adverse action. And so that communication has to happen orally or written, and they have to actually provide that information to you, and you have 60 days in which to pull your credit file for free from the credit bureaus. Now, not only do they have to communicate this, but they also have to communicate that the credit bureau was not the reason for the adverse action and that they aren't really associated with the adverse action. They're just providing the information to you about the adverse action. They're providing the information to you about your credit file so you can see what might have been the reason that you were rejected in your application. So they also have to provide a toll-free number as well. So if you want to learn more about this and other topics, you know where to come, VideoCreditScore.com. You can also friend me up on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. See you soon. Remember, everyone's situation is different. Be sure to contact a financial advisor or a credit counseling professional before making important financial decisions. This video broadcast is for educational purposes and not a substitute for receiving personalized professional advice.